What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Rise of Tryhard Sunset Canyon Edition. Today, I feel like I'm falling behind in Sunset Canyon. So I'm going to talk to you about a potential total restructure, a total blow up of my current team. If you recall, the team I like to use is Joan Matilda Siege, Sun Tzu, and some AoE commander, infantry in the front. I'm using Martel and Æthelflæd in the front also, and in the back I use Thutmose Imhotep and Minamoto YSG. That's the team that I've been using. As soon as I got YSG, I added him in. I was using buy bars here before, but this team I'm prioritizing AoE, high damage, group buffs and debuffs. These two guys. And then I'm using the Siege March, which I think is pretty common knowledge these days. However, I feel like I'm falling behind. If I look at the history, like this guy, well, let's just look at this guy can beat me like convincingly. It's not even close. His archers are just ridiculous. This guy can beat me. This guy can beat me. These guys, I mean, they're double my power. Double my power, triple my power. I mean, if you look at this guy, he's got expertise legendaries 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 expertise legendaries. And it's like, when I fight him, he still has 2 marches up with like 30 or 40,000 troops. It's not even, now this guy snuck ahead of me just now. I think I should be able to beat him. Let's just do that real quick because it's kind of fun to beat people live. He is my friend and he is an awesome dude, but he should not be ahead of me in Sunset Canyon. When I look at a team, I'm looking for where's the expertise YSG. Here it is. Where's the expertise Minamoto? Who does he have with him? And where's the AoE? He has a good amount of AoE here. Let's challenge him. And let's look at his lineup. Our first goal is to eliminate that YSG. It's behind the Joan. And that's AoE. Here's a trick that I sometimes like to use. When I want to get to the back, I can go through the Joan, but also I can kind of go around it. I'll show you what I mean by that. What if I put Martel here and I let his buy bars come across? Remember when the attacker comes across, they rotate down. So buy bars will come across. Buy bars will come straight on. He's in the front row. He'll come straight on. He will come at my Martel. Let's slow Martel down a little bit and make him as slow as possible so that his buy bars meets me at the back and nobody else gets hit by his buy bars, and my Martel will have to go against his Minamoto. And I would like to get to that YSG faster, so I'm going to put Sun Tzu AoE to try and hit the YSG. We'll put more AoE behind that to get through to the YSG. We'll let Joan be down here and Minamoto there. So my goal is these two are occupied with Martel. We kill Sun Tzu faster. Let's give Martel a buff. Let's do that. And we'll try and kill Sun Tzu as fast as possible. I think that YSG will rotate down and should be right in front of Sun Tzu and get blasted by the Sun Tzu AoE. We're going to watch this battle. I haven't fought this guy in a while, but his commanders are not level 60 yet. We're hoping this YSG drops down and sits right in front of my Sun Tzu. So he rotates up. Well, that's a shame. That's a shame because we want Sun Tzu's AoE to get. Okay, yeah, the defender rotates up. I forgot about that. But we need to get rid of the Sun Tzu quicker than my Martel dies. I may look a little bit silly here. If I lose this match, you know that I'm going to cancel this video and start it over again so I don't look like I don't know what I'm talking about. Where's his YSG? His YSG is still alive and popping off a lot of damage. But I might be okay. That YSG needs to die. Come on. Why did she die? Okay, good. Now it's 3v2. His Minamoto is extra super duper strong. But I would like to still pull this out. Let's see if I can. Now I have 2v1. His Minamoto is probably the strongest Minamoto we have in our alliance, but he is 2v1 now. If his other commanders were level 60, I'd have a real hard time with that. So then there would be another player that could beat me, which my Minamoto is not nearly as strong as his Minamoto, but I have much more health left at this point, so I can still beat him, and it's no problem. So I should be able to move ahead of him back into fourth place. Okay, but let's look at the standings. I can't beat him. I can't beat him. I can't beat him. I can beat him. If this guy fights me, I think I cannot beat him. So the best I can be is 5 at this point. And if I look at the rankings for the last few days, let's see, yesterday I ended up 3. Monday I ended up 6. I ended last week at 4. But what would it take? So I can keep going like this and stay in the top 5. But what if I try something crazy and just totally shake things up a little bit? I have started a Discord, and I'll put the link to that Discord in the description of this video, and you can join in. And there's been some interesting discussions on there. One, someone popped in and talked about Matilda Scipio as an off-lane march, because you might remember I talked in my last video, Matilda won Expertise, which I just did. Expertise Matilda can bring 15% extra unit capacity, and also her talents allow her an extra 3%. So really, she can bring 18% extra troops, and Scipio can bring, Expertise Scipio can bring 10% more. So it's like, goodness, that's 128% unit capacity. So he was suggesting, like, go set up 4v1s where their whole army is attacking Matilda Scipio. Something like this. Let me show you. So let me take Joan and free up Matilda. And in this march here, change this to Matilda and Scipio and Siege. Now, Matilda has all the same talents that Joan has. I've talked before about this. She has the talent where you put 3 talent points in and you get 18% stats for Siege. She has all of that, so she's a fine primary commander. Right now, my Matilda is level 45, so I can't do this yet. But I mean, last week she was level 36, so I gained 9 levels in a week, kind of thinking about this strategy since that guy in the Discord brought it up. So Matilda, CPO are up here, or somewhere off. One thing I like about this too, about having this off, I've never been able to have this off lane siege, because my siege march before was Joan, and it's very important to me that Joan stays in the middle of things. I've been stuck with this dilemma when I had Joan Matilda as siege. It's a great tank, and its damage is limited, so I wanted to do this. I wanted to put the siege in the off lane, but I can't, because Joan was my primary for the siege march, and this march is far too far away. Joan's AoE buff is going to affect like where my mouse is. Like maybe if I put her up here, it might help a little bit, but she would get this top row. But Sun and Minamoto would miss out if this were the Joan Matilda march that I've been using. Sun and Minamoto would miss out on Joan's buff. I'm not willing to do that. I think it's very important that Joan stays right in the middle here, and I want to keep using Joan. Now, I'm not like married to the idea of using Joan as primary. So like, let's say I had this Matilda CPO. I'm going to try it. And who cares where they are? They're up here somewhere, and we're going to set up a 4v1 with my Matilda CPO targeting their 4, and then my 4, just like I did with the match that I just did. I targeted his 1 with my 4, and I had Martel or whatever I had up there stayed alive long enough for my 4 to kill his 1, and then loop around and do 4v4. So this is the same strategy. I'm giving up my Matilda for me to be able to take out their 1 and then have 4v4. And that 4v4 would have, I want to have a max AoE and max buffing and debuffing. So if I want to do that, let's say I put Matilda CPO up there. What do I do? Joan's staying. I'm committed to Joan. What do I do with Joan? And what are my options? So I have Joan and I have Martel. I mean, I've been investing, I've been buying dailies from Martel. And whenever there's like a commander recharge event, like right now there was, right now, oops, not that one. This commander recharge event, I got 10 Martel sculptures yesterday. And I buy the daily special offers. I get, 3, 4, 5, sometimes 8 Martel's sculptures every day. So he is up to 5-3-1-1. And I have another, he'll be up at 5-4-1-1, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. So it's kind of a shame to not use him. I don't have amazing gear on him. My Sun Tzu gear is far better for infantry than my Martel gear. So it's not a huge loss to not have him from a gear perspective. But he's a great commander. I like him. If he were expertise, I would totally use him. But let's say I have all kinds of flexibility in what I could do with this other march. If I, let's go back into that. Sorry, I got sidetracked. So we're going to put this here, Matilda, CPO, and Siege. And that's going to be up here. So what then do I do? My options are, I could put her with Martel. It'd probably, more likely than not, it'd probably be Martel primary and Joan secondary. That's a good march. I've seen that. Martel keeps, Martel has good survivability. And Joan can help with buffing, and like she does a little bit of healing, and infantry does normal damage, and Joan helps with normal damage. Like, it's not bad. It's not bad. I've thought about that. It could be good. Martel is not doing any of my remember, my priorities are AoE. Martel does not do AoE. Group buffs, group debuffs, and high damage. I wouldn't characterize Martel as any of those things. So, like, what if I didn't use Martel? What could I do? I have to use Joan primary at that point because I don't have any other level 60 commanders. But what would be my secondary options? Remember, I dropped Æthelflæd. She was with Martel. So, like, Æthelflæd is a secondary option. Let's think about that. Buy bars is a secondary option. Either of those would be good AoE. That would make this march fit my goals. My goals being high damage, if single target, very high damage. That's Minamoto. If AoE is good, and group buffs and debuffs are good, so that would fit. But I've been thinking about this march, and like, let's just go look at this. And it wouldn't be, well, ignore the unit type for now. Okay, so let's go look. Let's first start by looking at Æthelflæd from a perspective of what would it be like to put her with Joan? What could I do that I haven't done before? So when I started working on Æthelflæd I got from the expedition, and as you know, and when I started working on her, I locked all these skills and got her first skill to 5, and this was my first best AoE, and at the beginning of the game, the first few weeks, this was really spectacular. It still is really good AoE damage and a spectacular debuff. Like, so I was really excited to get Æthelflæd to 5, and I had locked all the other skills, and then I started working on the second one, and this is Æthelflæd is a great secondary for a tank. I used Sun Æthelflæd for a very long time, and this second skill, when I could reduce counterattack damage, really helpful. So I got 5, 5, 1, 1 initially, and then I started working this third one because I was using Æthelflæd at killing barbarians, and I don't have Richard. So whenever I'm trying to kill AoE kill barbarians, I'm using Æthelflæd. So I got that to 5. And then I kind of ignored this skill. Really, I've tried to get 5, 5, 5, whatever, and then on to expertise. So in order to get the expertise, you got to fill out this third skill. And I completely ignored this because none of my Sunset commanders, I had never considered having any of the troops contain at least 3 different unit types. I mean, my Sun Tzu has infantry, my Thutmose has archers, and my Minamoto has cavalry. And like 3 different unit types, I never considered that. But now we're thinking like crazy ideas. What if I did use 3 different unit types? I could get 20% free attack just by having this 4th skill. And I mean, for that's still a little ways away. I mean, I've got to get, I mean, the commander calculator could probably tell me, but this might be 300 Æthelflæd sculptures away. But like, I would even do I have 3 skill resets right now. I might even consider doing a skill reset and getting, putting in points in until I got this to 5, and then locking and doing these first 2, 5, 5, something 5. And it would be 5, 5, 2, 5, or even if it were 5, 5, 3, 4, or something like that, it'd be fun. I could get 20% extra attack by using 3 different unit types. And eventually I'll get, if I can slow, and keep that in mind, if I can get the troops, the enemies slowed that Æthelflæd's hitting, I can also get another 20%. This might be, a month or 2 away still to get expertise, because there's a lot of sculptures to get to in order to get expertise. But just file that away, and let's then look at Joan. And let's think about the synergy. We're always looking for commanders that have synergy together. You can kind of tell players that are like inexperienced in the game, or like maybe just kind of pay to win and didn't really think through their commanders, because they put things together like Hannibal and Lohar, like things that don't really make sense in Canyon. So I'm looking for synergies between commanders that make sense. And if I'm going to use, I have 5 marches, so I put a lot of thought into every single march. Every single commander has to make sense. So the troops' talents come from the primary commander, which in this case would be Joan. Let's go look at Joan's talents in a different way. When we look at Joan, she has these 2 talents up here that I never thought of, again, because I wasn't ever thinking about bringing 3 different unit types. But look at that synergy between Æthelflæd's skill, that she gets 20% more damage by bringing 3 different unit types. And here are some really cool talents. Joan can take 4% less damage. I'm not going to reset Joan right now, but I can go and do one of these and reset this. She can take, upgrade that. She can take 4% less damage if she has 3 different unit types. And then over here, she can deal 4% more damage if she has 3 different unit types. That's interesting. And then one other kind of synergy. I don't know if I can get all this. But remember, Æthelflæd, when she's expertise, this is not important yet, but when Æthelflæd is expertised, she does 20% more damage to troops that are slowed. And Joan has this skill. Let's hit that. Whenever this commander's troops use an active skill, 5 nearby enemies, which is the entire other Sunset Canyon army, all 5 marches, lose 5% march speed. And like, I could put more points in that and have it lose more march speed, but it's not important. I don't need to lose 10% march speed. 5% march speed is enough for Æthelflæd then to begin dealing 20% more damage. And she'll do that whenever this commander's troops use an active skill. This commander's troops, that's the primary and the secondary. So if we say remember Joan has this rage engine. In the expertise active skill, for 4 seconds, she gets 50 extra rage per second. And if we go look at some of her talents, every basic attack, 9 extra rage. And if you look at this, every active skill, 150 extra rage. And we have to get that on the way to this. So let's say Joan is popping off her active skill every, I don't know, you might laugh at me because I don't know the math, but let's say it's every 8 seconds. So every 8 seconds, Joan is, this skill applies. She's causing the entire army to lose march speed for 3 seconds. So the way primary and secondary skills work, Joan goes, her active skill fires, and then 7 or 8 seconds later, her active skill is going to fire again. But the turn after Joan's active skill fires is nothing. And the following turn, I believe is how it works, the turn after that, the secondary's active skill would fire. So when the secondary commanders, Æthelflæd in this case, when Æthelflæd's active skill fires, this triggers again. So it's another 3 seconds of all the march speed reduction. So that'll be like the active skill Joan for 3 seconds. That would cover the gap between the Joan's active skill, the other commander's, the empty slot second, and then Æthelflæd's active skill, and then another 3 seconds. So it's like 6 seconds every 8 seconds. You'll get the slow effect. Maybe it's 5 seconds every 9 seconds. It's a significant amount of time that this Cage of Thorns could be up, slowing the other army. And as long as that's happening, if Æthelflæd is expertised, Æthelflæd's troops, which is Joan and Æthelflæd and all their troops, are doing 20% more damage. And Joan is boosting some damage as well. This is why there's just a really cool synergy between those two commanders that I've never seen. If we go and look through all the top teams, even in Lost Canyon, let's go and look. Let's just look. Is anybody using Joan Æthelflæd? No. Joan Imhotep? No. 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 Nope. Joan Matilda again. I like that. Nope. Joan Matilda again. I like that. Nope. Joan Matilda. Where are they putting their Joan? They don't have it. Oh, yeah. There. Joan Bybars. Joan Son. Joan Richard. I like this combination. Actually is really strong. Joan Richard again. Joan Richard again. No, Joan. Hello. What are you thinking? Joan Imhotep. I think that's fine. That march is not going to do a lot of kills, but it's valuable. An expertise Joan, expertise Imhotep. That's going to do a really nice buff debuff. Joan Mulan. I have heard about this. I didn't know if these two stack, but Mulan also has a great buff. This is a great buffing march. It's really cool. Joan Richard again is good. Joan Martel is smart. I feel like Joan Matilda. I know this guy. Joan, that commander is also a buffer. Okay. I'm not sure if I love that, but it's okay. Joan Emmett is another buffing, debuffing march. Joan's Son, I've used that. No Joan. Huh, okay. Joan Richard, smart. Joan Richard, yes. Joan Mehmed, I don't know that I love this. Mehmed is awesome at enhancing the skill damage of the primary. In this case, the primary is not doing any skill damage. I might rearrange that if I were them, but whatever. Richard Joan, Son Joan, yes. Here we go. Yay, I found somebody doing it. It's backwards from what I would do, but that's okay. Okay, someone in the top 40 is using Joan and Æthelflæd together. They're using Æthelflæd as the primary. Yeah, this is a cool team. I like this. Okay, cool. I wouldn't be the only crazy one. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about. As soon as I can get Matilda up, my plan is to have Matilda. Let's see. Ready. Joan Æthelflæd. And remember, I have to have 3 different unit types. So let's have, something like whatever. Something like that. It's going to have 3 different unit types. Ready? And the off lane is going to be Matilda, CPO. And that's going to be Siege. The number is going to be 128,000. Once I get Matilda's talented and skilled up, they'll be here. Joan will be right in the middle again, which I love being able to. I love not having to like be pulled, like having to think, well, I want my Siege over here, but I want my Joan here. I get to keep my Joan right in the middle where she belongs. I love that. She's buffing everybody here. I think this is going to work really good. One thing I was thinking about, like, what do you do with gear? Like, yeah, I don't want to save that yet. If I think about gear now, all this siege gear is going to go to Matilda, which is great. She's going to lead the siege march. And I have Martel's gear. It's like kind of crappy. But remember now, in this new world, Joan's bringing 3 different unit types. So it doesn't make sense to wear something like this. This is, it's 5.5% stats, but it's refined for infantry. And Martel has infantry, but Joan, what does Joan even have? Integration, gathering, and support. So if I want to refine any equipment, it has to be for integration, gathering, and support. I'm looking for max stats, but I'm not sure it makes, if I have a third of each unit type, doesn't make any sense to use equipment that's infantry only. Oh, that has some archer defense. Maybe that might be okay. What's this? Infantry only. Okay, there's some infantry and cavalry. Well, let's just go and look and see, go back into the blacksmith and like, what kind of gear would you forge if you were to have 3, if that commander was to have 3 different unit types? My goal right now, I'm working towards the Hope Cloak for my Sun Tzu, and it's getting awfully close. I have all the iron. I am 4 out of 10 on the leather and 7 out of 10 on the ebony. So that's my next big project. But like I could dismantle that equipment on Martel and like build a set for Joan to wear, and it's probably going to have to be blues right now. Like that doesn't make any sense for she's not going to have any siege. So this is all right. That's 9% stats. That's pretty good, and it affects both infantry and cavalry. Maybe my archers might get left out, but that's not bad. Let's see what else I could do here. Okay, that's 9% more stats. So maybe on the march with 3 different unit types, maybe you wear windswept. This has 9%, but it's archer and infantry. This has 6% between infantry and cavalry. So I think of the chest pieces, windswept is probably better. Let's look at the hands options. Okay, yeah, we get 5% stats between cavalry and infantry there. That's 6% between archer and cavalry. I prefer health over attack in this case. Attack and health, but it's both, remember, it's both infantry, so only a third of my units would be affected by that, but helped by that. What pants would you wear? Not those, that's siege. Here we get defense, 9% stats, and it's maybe that helps your archers a little bit. I can forge another one of those. I have 4 of those. That's good. Okay. That's attack again. I'd rather not. That's only cavalry, so only a third would be affected by that. That's 6%. So the pants, I'd probably make these pants. And that would give the archers a little bit of love. Let's go. That's siege only. Yeah, the windswept is 5% stats between cav and infantry. That'd be fine. That's only infantry. Probably not what I want. Okay. And is that all the pieces? Yeah, what about a weapon? So what weapon would I use? That's cavalry and archer attack. That's archer defense and a lot of it, and infantry defense and a good amount. Oh, that's all three. That's all three. Sweet. So I would probably make the Staff of the Lost and have Joan use that. Unless there's something crazy here. That's 13%. What is this? This is actually more because I care about all three. I've always looked at these equipment pieces like, I want all these stats on archer defense. But this is the one case where I don't. So I'd probably give the Staff of the Lost as the weapon. And then, I don't have any trinkets to use yet, really, so that's fine. Okay, yeah, so that's my equipment plan that I'm going to use. I'll try this out. I've been raising up Matilda's levels. Just every tome that I get, I'm giving to Matilda, and she's scooching up in levels. So I'll try that out. Leave a comment here and let me know what you think of this plan. Let me know if I forgot something. Maybe a Joan build, a talent build that you've used. If you've used before and this has been awesome for you, let me know. I'll also leave a link to my Discord in the description. You can come chat there because that's where I heard about this Matilda CPO for the first time. I think it's a good idea. So come chat with me and let's talk more about how to dominate Sunset Canyon. All right, like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.